Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel once again. Happy weekend to you all. We are back again here on 24/7 News Box to bring you another fresh update concerning the IPOB. And in today's update, we're going to talk about the police security claiming that they dismantled the IPOB ASN hideout in Omaka, Imo State. Before then, please subscribe, like and share this video, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell so you'll be able to receive our updates promptly. So going straight to the news, the Imo State Police Command, in collaboration with other sister security agencies, has successfully dismantled camps believed to be occupied by the operatives of the indigenous people of Biafra and East Armed Wing, the Eastern Security Network (ESN), during a raid in Omaka, Njaba local government area of the state. The joint security operation, which took place this morning, was described as one of the most intense anti-insurgency raids in recent times in Imo. According to the Commissioner of Police, CP Abuki Danjuma, who confirmed the development while briefing journalists at the command headquarters in Owerri this morning, the raid followed credible intelligence reports about the presence of armed separatists regrouping in the community. Danjuma explained that when security forces arrived at the identified hideouts, they were immediately engaged in heavy gunfire by the armed men, leading to a battle that lasted several hours. He said the superior firepower of the combined team eventually subdued the gunmen, forcing them to retreat into the surrounding forest with varying degrees of injuries. During the operation, our men in synergy with troops of the Zoo Nation Army and operatives of the Department of the State Service stormed the hideouts at Omaka. Following actionable intelligence, the hoodlums, on sighting the advancing team, opened fire, triggering an exchange that lasted for a considerable period. They were eventually overpowered and fled the scene with injuries, the commissioner stated. Although no official figure of casualties has been released, CP Danjuma confirmed that items recovered from the hideout include several locally made weapons, charms, incriminating documents, and communication gadgets believed to have been used for coordinating attacks. He added that efforts are ongoing to track down the fleeing suspects through sustained area surveillance and ground operations. The police boss also reassured residents of Njaba and adjoining communities of their safety, noting that the operation was part of a broader security strategy aimed to neutralizing remnants of IPOB ESN elements who have been terrorizing rural communities with violent attacks and abductions. We are determined to ensure that these criminal elements have no safe haven in Imo State. Our resolve, in collaboration with other security stakeholders, remains unwavering. We call on communities to assist with useful information that can aid in the arrest of these fleeing suspects, he said. Residents of Omaka who witnessed the operation recounted tense moments as heavy gunfire echoed through parts of the town, forcing many to remain indoors for hours. Eyewitnesses who spoke anonymously described the raid as a battle scene, saying security forces conducted off strategic entry and exit points before advancing into the camp. Njaba local government area and its environs have in recent years recorded repeated attacks linked to suspected IPOB ESN operatives, prompting several security clampdowns. Analysts say the latest raid may signal a renewed determination by security agencies to decisively tackle insurgent activities in Imo and restore peace in the troubled region. The Commissioner of Police further warned criminal gangs still operating under the guise of IPOB ESN to renounce violence and surrender, stressing that security agencies will not relent in pursuing them until the state is fully rid of armed militants. Meanwhile, calm has since returned to Omaka community, though security forces are maintaining a heavy presence in the area to forestall possible regrouping by the gunmen. Investigations are ongoing, and the police have urged hospitals and clinics in the state to report any patients presenting gunshot wounds, as some of the fleeing suspects are believed to be receiving treatment in secret locations. The Imo State government is yet to issue an official statement on the development as of the time of filing this report, but community leaders in Njaba have commended the swift response of the security forces, urging the authorities to sustain the pressure until peace is fully restored. Meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has once again disassociated itself from armed groups accused of terror activities in the southeast, following claims by the Imo State Command that a joint security team dismantled hideouts of IPOB and East Armed Wing (ESN) in Omaka, Njaba local government area of Imo State. In a strongly worded statement, IPOB spokesperson Emma Powerful dismissed the police report as fabricated propaganda, linking it to violent crimes it knows nothing about. The group insisted that IPOB remains a peaceful organization committed to the pursuit of Biafra's self-determination through non-violent means. We want to state categorically that IPOB has no connection whatsoever with the so-called terrorists the Zoo government security forces claim they raided in Omaka. This is yet another attempt to criminalize our movement and mislead the public. IPOB does not operate in terrorist camps, nor does ESN engage in criminal activities as alleged, the statement read. This morning, Imo State Commissioner of Police CP Aboki Danjuma announced that a joint team of police operatives, soldiers, and DSS personnel stormed the ESN hideout in Omaka this morning, leading to a fierce battle. According to him, the operation overpowered the armed ESN operatives, forcing them to retreat with injuries. He said the security forces recovered weapons, charms, and communication gadgets, adding that the raid was part of a border strategy to raid the state of insurgents. But IPOB has rejected the official narrative, describing it the unusual script the Zoo government operative agencies deploy after every raid. IPOB maintains that its struggle is rooted in international law, anchored on the right to self-determination as recognized by the United Nations. It says attempts to brand it a terrorist organization are politically motivated, insisting that neither IPOB nor ESN engages in crimes such as abduction, armed robbery, or indiscriminate attacks on civilians. We challenge the Zoo government police to present incredible evidence linking IPOB or ESN to these so-called hideouts in Omaka. What they call ESN are unknown gunmen created and sponsored by those benefiting from insecurity in the southeast. Our ESN operatives are disciplined and their sole mandate is to defend our farmlands for terrorist headers who destroy our crops and buy our people, IPOB added. The group further accused security agencies of conducting extrajudicial buyings and indiscriminate arrests under the guise of fighting terrorism in the southeast. Furthermore, this is not the first time IPOB has distanced itself from criminal groups in the region. Since the rise of so-called unknown gunmen in 2021 who have carried out attacks on police stations, INEC offices, and government facilities, IPOB has repeatedly said the perpetrators are not part of its movement. In 2022, IPOB condemned the buyings of traditional rulers in Njaba, calling it an abomination and blaming political mercenaries. In 2023, after the bombing of an Imo police checkpoint, the group issued a statement saying those behind these crimes are sponsored elements, not IPOB or ESN. Earlier in 2025, IPOB also disowned gangs accused of abductions along the Owerri-Onitsha road, warning criminals not to operate under its name. The group argued that its enemies deliberately link it to violence in order to weaken its support base and justify the continued detention of its leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who has been in custody since his rearrest in 2021. In Omaka, where the raid occurred this morning, some residents say they are caught in the middle of conflicting narratives, while the police insist the hideouts belong to IPOB ESN. Many locals remain skeptical. A community leader who asked not to be named told reporters, each time there is a raid, the police always say it is IPOB or ESN, but in truth, no one here has seen IPOB camps. What we have seen are strange armed groups terrorizing the area. Whether they are IPOB or not, we do not know. What we want is peace. Another resident, a trader, added, "We live in fear because after such raids, innocent young men are often arrested and branded IPOB. The government and IPOB should settle their differences so that our communities can breathe." Security analysts say the truth about the identities of armed groups in the Southeast is often blurred. Dr. Chika Eze, a lecturer in political science at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, explained, "While it is true that ESN was initially formed by IPOB, over time several splinter armed groups have emerged exploiting the chaos. This is why IPOB keeps denying involvement in violent incidents. Without independent verification, it is difficult to know who exactly is behind each attack." Human rights groups have also raised concerns about collective punishment in Southeast, where entire communities are sometimes raided on the basis of alleged IPOB activities. Amnesty International and other watchdogs have in the past accused security forces of extrajudicial violence and arbitrary detentions. At the heart of the ongoing crisis in the detention of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, whose case has dragged on in the Zoo government courts since 2021, IPOB insists that the continued incarceration of its leader is fueling unrest in the region and has called on the Zoo president to order his unconditional release. The group argues that labeling IPOB ESN as terrorists while negotiating with bandits in the north exposes a double standard in the Zoo government's handling of security challenges. "We are not terrorists. IPOB is a peaceful movement demanding a referendum. The world should hold the Zoo government accountable for buying our people and branding us criminals," IPOB spokesperson emphasized. In conclusion, as police continue to celebrate the Omaka raid as a victory against insurgency, IPOB maintains that the operation has nothing to do with its members, reiterating its commitment to a non-violent struggle. For residents of Njaba and surrounding communities, the conflicting claims leave more questions than answers. While the Zoo government insists that IPOB and ESN are behind the unrest, IPOB continues to push back, saying it is being unfairly framed. What remains clear, however, is that the cycle of raids, denials, and counterclaims will persist until the Zoo government's deep-rooted political and security challenge in Southeast are resolved. So, my people, we are ending it here for now. We will be back shortly, but before then, please subscribe and like this video.